My name's Holly, and this is my friend, the fantastic Mr. Fox. And we're here today to read you a bedtime story, because when I was little like you, I used to go to Playbox too, and my favourite bit of Apple Club was always when Toby would read us the best stories ever. And I've chosen one of my absolute favourites, The Tough Princess. And it goes like this. The Tough Princess by Martin Waddell. Once upon a time, there lived a king and a queen who were unlucky. They crashed their flying carpet and a giant trod on their castle. They ended up living in a caravan parked in a deep, dark wood. The king is the one with the frying pan and the queen is the one with the hammer, trying to fix the roof. One day, the queen told the king that she was going to have a baby. "Have a boy," commanded the king. "He will grow up to be a hero, marry a rich princess, and restore all of our fortunes." "Good idea," said the queen. But when the baby came, guess what? What do you think happened? What do you think, Fantastic Mr. Fox? Do you think it was a boy? He's not sure. It was a girl! "Never mind," said the king. "She will grow up to be a beautiful princess. I will annoy a bad fairy, get the princess into bother, and then a handsome prince will rescue her, and we'll all go off and live in his castle." "Good thinking," said the queen. We'll call her Rosamond." "Bah," said Rosamond. There she is, baby Rosamond. "Bah," can you say bah? Bah. The princess grew up and up and up and up until at last there wasn't room in the caravan to hold her. The prince got her a tent and pitched it outside. "It's time you were married, Rosamond," the king told the princess on her 17th birthday. It's quite young. "Yes, Dad," said the princess, "but I'll go off and arrange it," said the king. The king went into the deep, dark wood to annoy some bad fairies. The first fairy the king met was no use. She was a good one, and he didn't even get angry when the king called her names. You see the good fairy? I wonder what kind of names he called her. It's not very nice. The second fairy was bad, but she was only a beginner. She turned the king into a frog for making faces at her cat. What kind of face did you think the king made at the cat? Like that, exactly. For making faces at her cat. But the spell wore off. So he was only a frog for a little bit. That's no use. The third fairy was very bad. This is her. Can you see this is the third very, very bad fairy? The king was awfully rude to her. "Ah ha!" cried the bad fairy. "What do you love most in the world?" "My daughter Rosamond," said the king hopefully. "I will cast a spell on her," cackled the bad fairy. She wasn't very bright, and she darted off to do it. "Goody!" cried the king, because his Get the Princess a Rich Prince plan was working. That's quite hard to say. Get the princess a rich prince plan. Get the princess a rich prince plan. Can you say that? It's quite tricky. The bad fairy came upon Princess Rosamond, picking buttercups in a glade. "Aha!" she cried. "I am the bad fairy, come to cast a spell on you. 7 years you shall lie, till a prince comes riding by." Biff! Went Princess Rosamond, and she knocked the bad fairy out, bent her false teeth, and bust up her glasses. Can you see her? Biff! It's a bit naughty, isn't it? "You rotten, ungrateful thing, Rosamond," said the queen, picking up the bad fairy. "I'll catch my prince my own way," said Princess Rosamond. The next day, she borrowed the king's bike and rode off to seek her prince. She's doing things her own way, isn't she? Rosamond had a lot of adventures. She slew dragons and great worms, massive worms, and black knights. She rescued several princes who were quite rich, but she didn't like them, and so she threw them back. She did all the things a heroine ought to do, but she still didn't catch her prince. Princess Rosamond grew tired of rescuing princes and killing dragons, and her front reel got buckled in a fight with a 100-headed thing. In the end, she set off, sadly, for home, carrying her bicycle as she went. "Hello, Mum. Hello, Dad. Hello, Bad Fairy," said Princess Rosamond when she got home. "Where's your prince, then?" said the King, and the Queen, and the Bad Fairy, who had moved in with them by this time. "Haven't got one," said Rosamond. "I'm not going to marry a ninny." "What about us?" cried the King, and the Queen, and the Bad Fairy. "What are we supposed to live on if you can't come up with a prince?" "That's your problem," said Princess Rosamond. "I'm not going to." And then she saw the sign. It's this sign right here. It's probably a bit small for you to try and read. I'll read it to you. It says, "This way to the enchanted prince." "I'm doing this for me," said Rosamond firmly, and she set off into the deep, dark wood. "You lot can look after yourselves." She bashed up several goblins, biff, 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 and ghouls, and the old fairy, including several good ones by mistake. Oh no. And finally, she won through to the enchanted castle. On a flower-strewn bed in the castle laid a beautiful prince. Rosamond gave him a big, smacky kiss. Just like that. The beautiful prince opened his eyes and took a look at Princess Rosamond. "Caw! What a liberty!" he cried, and he biffed her one, biff, right back on her beautiful nose. And Rosamond, biff, biffed him right back. It was love at first biff. They biffed happily ever after. The King and the Queen lived happily ever too. Happily ever after too. And the Bad Fairy got even worse. And that is the end. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Bye!